Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Get your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. You want hot takes?
No, I'm not going to apologize to Ryan Day. Everything we said about Ryan Day up into the playoffs was true.
Not bad. Come on, Kenner. You can do better than that.
To be fair, of all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow is the least accomplished.
Getting better.
1,000,000%. I 1,000,000% believe that the Dayton Flyers are afraid of the Wright State Raiders. That's why they come up with every excuse in the book not to play them.
There it is. The hottest take of them all. It's the Justin Kenner Show, presented by Frickers, live on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we are off and rolling here. It's the Justin Kenner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. 937-518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. You could, of course, call that number. You could text that number. You could watch the show on the Justin Kenner Show Facebook page or the Justin Kenner Show YouTube channel. Many different ways to take in the show. However you do it, I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out with me here today. We got a lot to get into. NFL training camps are officially off and rolling across the board, and there's fresh content to dive into when it comes to the NFL right now with these camp headlines. And I want to open up with some Bengals talk. I mean, there was a fight today. All right, there was a fight. There was an injury. There's a player that is fed up with hearing about last year. Probably a lot of players that are fed up with hearing about last year. But there is a lot to unpack from today's very interesting day one of training camp, day two, whatever the heck day it is, but the official full day with everyone out there and getting it in. So let's open up with some Bengals. I want to get to the Reds around the corner as well. They got rocked hard in the first game, came back in the doubleheader yesterday, had a chance to win, lose late, but to bounce back and shut out the guards the way that they did. They go for their fourth straight series victory here tonight at 7:10 on 1410 ESPN Radio as they look to take the series against the Guardians. Again, we are just a few days away from the MLB trade deadline. I mean, it's a Wednesday. All right, we're 5 days away. Monday at 6 o'clock is when that deadline hits. So keep that in mind that is coming up sooner rather than later. So we'll get into some baseball stuff coming up around the corner. Also, college football. I do want to get into this. I can't stand when college football fans start yelling about the SEC bias. I think that is the most lazy take in the world to talk about bias. However, I start to scream that, and then there's just weird things that ESPN does now that sometimes I'm like, are you even trying to hide it? I'm trying so hard to pretend that SEC bias doesn't exist. But then when I look at a schedule like Ohio State's this year, I'm like, there's no way. Now, we had Phil Steele on the show last week. We discussed Ohio State's schedule. He wouldn't go as far as to say it's their toughest one ever, but I think I'd be willing to go out and say, as far as a schedule heading into a season, because last year we thought last year's schedule would be pretty tough, and Penn State fired their coach not even a month into the season. That's how bad things got, right? So things could change, but when you play at Texas, you play at Indiana, the defending national champions, right? You play at USC, you play Oregon, you play Michigan, and you play at Nebraska, you have Illinois on the schedule, you play at Iowa. Like, yeah, that's a tough schedule. But for it to not even be, according to ESPN, one of the top 5 toughest schedules in college football, and there's an extra wrinkle to it as well that we'll get into, sometimes I might come, you guys aren't even trying to hide it. You got to help me help you here. I mean, my goodness. But we'll get into all that coming up. All right, let's dive into this. Shemar Stewart, right? That's a polarizing name with the Cincinnati Bengals because Shemar Stewart, unless, he was drafted for his measurables, if you guys remember, right? It was all about the measurables for, Shemar Stewart, because all anyone kept talking about is, man, his numbers and production weren't great in college, but my goodness, he's Myles Garrett. He's chiseled like Myles Garrett. He has all the measurables of a Myles Garrett. And I said he may have all the measurables of a Myles Garrett, but he has all the production of a Justin Kinner. It's not very much, has not been very good, has shown flashes, right? But nothing consistent and nothing of what this team truly needs with a first-round pick like they took last year with him. And it wasn't a very good rookie campaign. A lot of injuries. And his second year might be done before it gets started. Now, there's no official ruling yet on what exactly happened. It happened at the very beginning of practice today. He goes down. Again, these guys aren't wearing pads. There's not a lot of contact, if any contact right now. It's all these guys just kind of getting acclimated and kind of getting into the groove of things. And for him to go down the way that he did, there's been some slow motion video kind of put out there of the leg going a certain way. There's a lot of fear of what it could be, but until we find out what it actually is, I'm not willing to go as far as to say he's out for any significant amount of time, but there's not a lot of people who are optimistic about it. Nonetheless, I haven't come across any update as far as that's concerned. Now, with that being said, the reason that type of injury is a little bit of a concern, any injury with Shamar Stewart is a little bit of a concern, is I know you guys are very excited about this team's defense. You're very excited because the front office decided that they were going to give a damn this offseason, and they were going to go out and make defense their number one priority. And damn it, to their credit, they did. As much as I like to rag on your team, there's not a whole lot to rag about. I think that they were the worst. They were one of the most embarrassing defenses in NFL history. I don't think that's up for debate. I think we can all agree, even the most homerist of Bengals fans can agree how embarrassingly bad your guys' defense was, right? So they had no choice. I love the Dexter Lawrence deal. I love that they didn't settle for a draft pick at number 10. Could they have got Reuben Bain? Could they have got some really good young defensive pieces? Absolutely. But when you have so many holes on defense, you could have taken a Reuben Bain and Jr. and hope that he pans out, or you can go get somebody like a Dexter Lawrence and know exactly what you're getting. And what exactly they got is a top 5, top 3, some maybe even arguing that he's the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL. I have no problem with that. You added a Jonathan Allen, right? As far as the secondary is concerned, you go and you get a Brian Cook, and you add a safety, who's a Super Bowl champion, who's done it all, right? So, you added a lot of experience to this defense. A lot of you like that Cassius Howe pick, who's going to be playing behind Myles Murphy, right? So there's a lot of, Boy Mafe. I can't believe I forgot that. That was one of the more impressive ones that they got. Boy Mafe, getting him from the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. That was a big get. But, boy, the one thing about Mafe is that, in short spurts, his numbers really, really good. But we don't know what he looks like yet as an every down defensive player. Could those numbers start to be watered down as he gets more reps, as silly as that sounds? We don't know. But I'm going to be on the positive side here. Great. But he's not a guy that necessarily gets to the quarterback. He doesn't get to the quarterback. He doesn't have big sack numbers. And Dexter Lawrence doesn't get to he gets to the quarterback, but he doesn't bring down the quarterback. Right? And you look at the Myles Murphys of the world and the Shamar Stewarts, and you look at these guys and the Barrett Carters at linebacker and Demetrius Knight and all these guys, and I'm looking up and down. I keep hearing about all this potential, all this, all that. And the big question I have is, who the hell's going to get to the quarterback? And when you get to the quarterback, who's going to take him down? The one guy that I thought had a very good chance, to really elevate and take that next big step forward would be Shamar Stewart, because defenses would be honed in on the Dexter Lawrence. Mafe is going to have their attention now as a guy that has been a proven success in this league, right? You have a veteran in Jonathan Allen who's going to get a lot of attention there. BJ Hill coming off of an injury. You want to see him get out there. But Shamar Stewart going down is a big deal. I thought this was going to be a great year for Shamar Stewart, because last year I felt that it was wrong of the Bengals to go get a Shamar Stewart who didn't have the production in college, but did have all the measurables as we talked about. But I didn't think it was fair to look at Shamar Stewart and say, okay, here's the deal. Our defense absolutely stinks, and we need you to go turn it all around. That was never going to happen. But I thought that he could help turn things around this year, because opposing offenses would be locked in and focused in on the Boy Mafes of the world, would be focused in on the Jonathan Allens, and would be focused in, on those key guys. And at the end of the day, that was going to allow Shamar Stewart just to kind of go out there and play football. Well, you can't go out there and play football when you're hurt. Not trying to kick a guy while he's down, but I do think that this is more than just an unfortunate circumstance for Shamar Stewart. I think it's a humongous unfortunate circumstance for the Bengals, because although you added veteran pieces to the defense and they are going to be improved, I just don't know how good this team is going to be in regards to getting to the quarterback. And when you play in a division with a Lamar Jackson, and you play in a conference with the Josh Allen and with the Patrick Mahomes and with the CJ Stroud and with the QBs that are in this division, and not division, but the conference in general, you have to get to the quarterback. You're going to survive the regular season, but if you can't get to the quarterback, you're not going to make a playoff run. But I guess, you know what, with it being late July, we could focus on January and February later on. But right now, not a good thing. No injury is a good thing, but that's a very unfortunate name to see go down so early in camp. If you're just joining us, it is the Justin Kinner Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any update regarding Shamar Stewart. I know that, you know, is going to be something that everyone's keeping an eye on nonetheless. You know, Cassius Howell, who, you know, a lot of you are super excited about with the Bengals' second-round draft pick this year, a really good defensive player in the draft. But, I mean, for years now, you've been telling me how good these defensive players are in the draft that the Bengals selected, the same guys and the same scouting team and the same front office that drafted, you know, all of these average to below average defensive players in recent years, same ones that drafted Cassius Howell. So I got to see Cassius Howell produce before I'm going to give any credit at all for drafting him. It was one of the main reasons I was complimentary of the front office for using that first-round draft pick to go get a Dexter Lawrence. I think just like I have no faith in their ability to draft and develop, I think that they were questioning their ability to draft and develop, which is why they decided to go get a proven commodity with that first-round draft pick like a Dexter Lawrence, as opposed to taking a Reuben Bain or someone else and hoping that they pan out. We'll see if Cassius Howell, again, who I think will have a solid opportunity, because I don't think Cassius Howell is being looked at as a guy to come in here and save the day. You know, Reuben Bain would have been expected to come in to save the day. Then it would have put the pressure on Cassius Howell. But now with all these veterans, with all these proven defensive weapons that the Bengals front office added, I'm very intrigued by the development of Cassius Howell to see what he can do and go out there nonetheless. But Shaw, what up, Shaw? Shaw says, has there been any update on what the injury is? No, that's what the one thing I just said was we'll keep an eye out for any update regarding the injury to Shamar Stewart. And maybe it's nothing. All right. Maybe it's nothing, but at the end of the day, it is one of those situations where, you know, you hold your breath. This is a team that has been snake bitten with injuries, regardless of the position. You know, we talk about Joe Burrow's injuries, but it hasn't just been Joe Burrow's injuries. It's been a lot of injuries to a lot of key players on a team that's not very deep. So it does, you know what I mean? So injuries have plagued this team for years, and you hate to see something like that so early in camp, like we saw earlier today with Shamar Stewart. All right. Other Bengals news that I want to touch on, and I don't really have a hot take about this. I mean, this is one where people are expecting me to take it and run with it, and I'm not. I love fights in camp. I love when I'm not a, you know, I don't want guys to be swinging on one another and trying to hurt one another, especially when you're going up against your own teammates. But I think it's a great sign that you're seeing so much energy and so much animosity and so much frustration and urgency already so early in camp. And for those who don't know, there was a big scuffle, if you will, in practice earlier today. There was video shown out of Jamar Chase grabbing a helmet, and I don't know all the details, but throwing a helmet 20 yards. I mean, just pissed off and flinging that thing. And I like to see that. And I like to see that it is Jamar Chase out there. I like to see that he's grown up. A year ago, he would probably spit on that human being. So I'm glad to see that he has, picked up enough respect for his fellow human beings to no longer spit, across at someone who ticks him off. But no, in all seriousness, I like when the stars are chippy as well. You know, when you show up to camp and you have Jamar Chase, who's not just, because remember, Jamar Chase, he's not worried about contracts anymore. He's not worried about injuries right now. He's not worried about any of that. His quarterback's good. Everyone's healthy. You know, his guy T is paid. He's paid. Everyone's happy. Now it's just about, okay, can we make the playoffs? Can we stop missing the playoffs 3 straight years? I mean, when this team gets to the playoffs, when this core is in the playoffs, a bad playoff run for them is getting knocked out in the final seconds of an AFC championship game. That's how good this core, this unit is. They've only made the playoffs twice in 6 years with this group. But the 2 times they've made it, they've been to a Super Bowl, and they got knocked out the next season in the AFC Championship game. We're knocking on the door of getting to back-to-back Super Bowls representing the AFC. And many believe now, with this defense being improved as it is, with a healthy Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, with no distractions, with that, you don't have Trey Hendrickson demanding trades. He's no longer on the roster. You don't have T and Jamar doing a sit-in, a sit-out. I'm going to practice today and not practice till next month. None of that. None of that. It is all about winning this upcoming season. So I like the chippiness. I see some people are upset. Well, that's how you get people hurt. Yes, you're right. That is how you get people hurt. But this is a team that has been soft as baby, you know what, to start every season during this old Joe Burrow era. This team gets off to slow starts. They don't show any fight. They don't show any resolve. They don't show any urgency until they're 1-3 or 2-4. And then they decide that they want to start fighting and spitting and clawing and winning. Fighting doesn't mean you're going to win, but showing that there's this much fight early on, I like it. I like it. And I think Bengals fans should as well. Obviously, you don't want anyone to get hurt. You don't want any of that. But I like to see that fight and that passion so early on in camp. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show. 937-518-1410. You can text, you can call, or you can leave your opinions in the chat on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We'll step away for a few moments. More from Bengals camp. I thought this was interesting. DJ Turner. All right, there's going to be a lot of clips coming from camp, obviously moving forward. We've been itching for football. It's almost here, right? DJ Turner, though, again, there's like an edginess right now, right? Like, you have Jamar Chase pissed off and flinging helmets across the field. Fights breaking out on the first day, right? DJ Turner, he was annoyed as hell addressing the media earlier today. And I thought his take was an interesting one, but one that is worth addressing. We'll get to that when we come back. More of the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. We'll be right back.
On BritBox, there is a place where stories twist like cobblestone roads, grand manners hide secrets, and stakes are higher than seaside cliffs. Find places worth getting lost in on BritBox. Watch a new series like The Other Bennett Sister from the world of Jane Austen and A Woman of Substance starring Golden Globe winner Brenda Blethyn. If you want to get away, you're in the right place. Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Free trial at BritBox.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Celebrating 75 years serving Greater Dayton. Now is the time to join your friends and register for a fun fall league. Adult, youth, or mixed. Take your pick. Polking Bowling Centers has a fun program just for you. Visit polkingbowling.com or Facebook for the list of fall programs. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lanes South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive.
On BritBox, there is a place where stories twist like cobblestone roads, grand manners hide secrets, and stakes are higher than seaside cliffs. Find places worth getting lost in on BritBox. Watch a new series like The Other Bennett Sister from the world of Jane Austen and A Woman of Substance starring Golden Globe winner Brenda Blethyn. If you want to get away, you're in the right place. Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Free trial at BritBox.com.
Hi, how can I help?
Well, my husband and I feel like we've outgrown our current money manager.
I see.
Our lives have changed, and we need something more than just mutual funds to help us in retirement.
She's right.
I hear that often. At Fisher Investments, we'd start by getting to know you, your finances, family, health, lifestyle. We tailor a portfolio around your goals and needs.
Sounds good.
Can you help with estate planning?
Yes, we have a team of specialists who can help you with estate planning, Social Security, investment income, and more. We'll get to know your whole financial picture and help keep you on the path to a comfortable retirement.
And your fees?
We have a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
I feel better already.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Swing by Frickers today and treat yourself to our irresistible ribs and chunks special. Enjoy tender, saucy ribs grilled to perfection, paired with your choice of frickin' chicken chunks, boneless wings, or traditional wings, plus homemade slaw, your favorite side, and a roll, all for just $16.99. Don't forget, kids eat free all day, every day at Frickers. So bring the whole family for great food, family fun, and all the sports action you crave. At your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Big Ten Media Day is going on. Right now we got this brand new TV in our studio, which is not good because I have ADHD. I have ADD more than anything. The hyper thing, maybe I have. I'm not really sure. But, yeah, like I keep paying attention to what's on TV and get distracted. Like I forgot we were, like, coming back from break because I was locked in. But Julian's saying, man, like he's getting a lot of exposure here at Big Ten Media Days. We're going to talk about him coming up here more in just a moment. DJ Turner, big season coming up for DJ Turner and the Cincinnati Bengals defense, or for the whole Bengals, yes, but the defense especially, because – you know, the narrative around here's what I get tired of, because when the clip I'm about to play, it's not just DJ Turner's comment I have a problem with. It's all media. Especially local media, Bengals media, okay, getting so defensive of this team. You know, as media, you're technically not supposed to have a team. Now, technically, I just do radio. I don't report. I don't cover teams. I just give my opinion on teams. But if you're going to be an actual reporter for the team, you know, it's not your job to get out the shield and the sword and to go defend your team's honor. Like, it's just, you don't have to do it. You know, and I see it happen all the time, and it drives me up the wall. I have a legit question, and it's the same thing for the Cleveland Browns, okay? The Browns have had two really, really good off seasons. The Bengals had a really, really good off season this year. Browns and Bengals have combined one playoff appearance in the last 3 years, and well, that's the Cleveland Browns. I always like to make an excuse to throw out that the Browns have a more recent playoff appearance than the Cincinnati Bengals. I love doing that, but the point is, two franchises who don't have a lot of respect because they are run by a bunch of morons, and they get it wrong way more than they get it right. And then the one time that they do a couple things right, all of a sudden they expect all the history of being an embarrassment of a franchise to just disappear. It doesn't work that way. All right. I mean, it took the Bengals getting to back-to-back AFC championships and really the Bengals getting to within one play of winning a Super Bowl to slightly get media and non-Bengals fans to start to maybe view them a little differently. And then it's like as they climbed all the way up to the top, as if that was good enough to shut me and everybody up, they climbed to the top is what exposed them for being the bad franchise that they are, because what have they done since? And you guys know my take on this. I don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but you get to the Super Bowl in year 2 of Joe Burrow and your top 3 players, and Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all on rookie contracts, and yet you let Jesse Bates go, and yet you refuse to spend heavy dollars in free agency, and you really didn't capitalize on the dollars, the free dollars that you had to spend during that stretch. So that's I've always been critical of that. So the Bengals' biggest success also highlighted their biggest failure, because I do believe that they have, as much as you want to say they've succeeded because they've been to a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, I think that they have failed during this Joe Burrow era, because you saw what they were capable of in year 2, and yet they didn't do anything with it. They didn't add to the roster. All right. They got middle of the line to below average free agents that they were hoping would pop. It was very Cincinnati Reds-esque, and it blew up in their face. And now it forced them to be aggressive this offseason, which kudos to them. It was a very good offseason. Even I have been very kind about their offseason. I love what they did. I love the names that they got, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Allen, big fan of Dexter Lawrence, right? Like, I love that they did that, going to get Mafe. Like, at first when they just got Boy Mafe from the Seahawks, I'm like, okay, that's an okay get, but like, I'm not in love with it. But when you're the sum of your parts, the sum of the pieces you added in the offseason, I love it. From Cook, obviously, to Allen, to Lawrence, to Mafe. Of course, you add Cassius Howe in the draft, and hopefully some other pieces. I think that matters. You added a lot of experience, Super Bowl champions, Pro Bowlers, all pros. You added a lot of experience to this defense. But we haven't seen this defense go out on that field and play yet. We haven't seen them get a stop yet. We haven't seen them force a turnover yet. We haven't seen them hold a team to under 30 yet, right? We haven't seen them to hold a team to under 20 yet. So until we see all of that, I don't want to hear about, we're tired of the disrespect. You deserve to be. I don't think you're being disrespected. I think you're being called out for how stupidly bad you've been for 3 years. So this quote from DJ Turner, I get it. I get his frustration, but at the same time, well, just take a listen first. Take a listen. This was DJ Turner, who was very, very upset because he's sick and tired of hearing about one thing.
We put last year behind us. Like, I'm tired of hearing about last year. So, like, this is day one, first day of camp, and that's what matters. I'm tired of that.
Well, it's going to take a lot more than day one of camp to erase the last 3 years of embarrassment. It's going to take a lot more than one day of camp to erase the failure that was 2025. Okay, so I get it. I'm glad that you're upset about it, but you played a role in that horrible defense, you and a lot of those guys there. So, like, when Dexter Lawrence comes over, Dexter Lawrence, he may be tired of hearing about last year, because Dexter Lawrence could say, well, I wasn't here last year. But that's why Dexter Lawrence, all right, and Cook and Allen and Mafe, those guys are going to be like, yeah, we know how bad this team was last year. That's why we're here to save the day. So, DJ Turner, I'm good. You should be sick of hearing about last year. You should be embarrassed about last year. Everyone should be embarrassed, from Joe Burrow to Mike Brown to Katie Blackburn to every single person associated with that organization, to you, the Bengals fan listening to this show right now. You should all be tired of hearing about last year. But here's the deal. You were not just bad last year. You were bad the year before and bad the year before that. This defense has continuously gotten worse and worse, and historically bad, and last year was historically and embarrassingly, painfully bad. So, DJ Turner, you could be sick about hearing all of last year all you want. But until you go out there, and until this team and defense goes out there and proves that last year really was last year, and the last 3 years really were the last 3 years, and this is a new Bengals team moving forward, until that happens, you're going to constantly be compared to last year. You're going to constantly hear about last year, because it's one of the biggest, your team and franchise is one of the biggest disappointments in all of professional sports, to have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and to miss the playoffs for 3 straight years because of your side of the ball. Sorry, Mr. Turner. I hope you're tired of hearing about last year. Hopefully you guys go out and do something about it, so that you don't have to hear the loser Kinners of the world talk about how bad and embarrassing your defense was. Because, oh, Kinner, you're hating. I'm not hating. I hated watching that defense, just like you should have hated watching that defense. And like I said, hearing Turner talk about how he's so sick of hearing about last year, you should be sick of it. But I'm also tired of media. I'm tired of fans, and I'm tired of players doing this whole routine of, do they not see what we did this offseason? I don't care what you did this offseason. I appreciate what you did. I respect what you did. I like what you did. But it's only good if you go out there and perform, right? Like, we've seen the Bengals get decent players in free agency in recent off seasons, and it didn't mean a whole hell of a lot. So they got to put all this together. They got to put all of this together. But overall, first day of camp, a lot of interesting storylines coming out. I love the fight. I love the passion. I love the urgency. I love that Jamar Chase flinging a helmet 20 yards across the field because, I mean, it was, from what I've read, it was like right at the beginning of practice as well. Like, I mean, things got chippy early. Good. I love that. I don't think I see some fans online, on social media doing the whole, well, I don't really like my guys fighting each other. Save that for when when you have those inner squads or those, joint practices. About what? No. If anything, if you're going to fight your own teammates, there's still going to be a level of restraint and respect for your teammate that you're going up against. I'd much rather those happen. When you go in those joint practices, I don't care if I hurt you and you're out for a year. You're not on my team. I don't care. There's going to be less restraint. There's going to be, less discipline in those types of fights. So give me this. It just showed that there's fight, showed that there's urgency. This team has gotten off to so many slow starts because they come out lethargic. They don't come out like they've been ready to play. They don't come out like, I've said this before. It's like, why does this team always have to have their back against the wall before all of a sudden the offense clicks and Joe Burrow all of a sudden is Joe Burr and all this stuff? How about Joe Burr just be Joe Burr in week 1 and not need to wait 400 or 500 weeks before he finally decides that he's going to be the professional quarterback that he tells everybody and that you all think that he is? We know he can be. He needs to be that in week 1. The offense needs to click in week 1. The defense needs to be locked in and ready to go in week 1. And I think the fight and urgency that they've shown here on day 1 of camp, pretty impressive. Back to the so Shaw talking about the Shamar Stewart injury, feared to have a hyperextension with multiple ligament tears. Not good. We opened up the show with that. I said Shamar Stewart was a player I was very intrigued by heading into this season because I thought last year it was unfair to draft him in the first round and to kind of hype up the defense saying that he was going to be this Myles Garrett. And the reason he was compared to Myles Garrett was not because of the production in college, but it was because of the measurables. And I thought that was a joke. And he is built like Myles Garrett, but he also has the production of me, not a whole lot. And I thought that because they've added so many veterans to this defense in the offseason, that was going to take a lot of pressure off of him, and he was just going to get to go out and play football. I think that's one reason why I'm pretty excited to see Cassius Howe play. I think that Cassius Howe is going to be very good this year. Why? Because the Bengals are going to look at him and say, hey, you need to go save this defense. That's what they gave up a top 10 first-round draft pick for, to go get Dexter Lawrence. That's why they brought in Boy Mafe from the Super Bowl champion Seahawks, right? That's why they go get a Jonathan Allen. That's why they go get a Cook, right? Like, that's why they went out and got those players from respectable organizations. They've had success on the field as a team and individually across the board, winning at a high level, bringing that experience over. That's what their job is. Their job is to teach this team how to win, and everyone else needs to follow their lead. Now this team is not looking at Cassius Howe to go out there and lead this team, which is a great thing. I think that's one reason that I was excited about Shamar Stewart this year. And look, he's not out for the year. He's not, who knows how long he's going to be out. But when he does come back, I am very intrigued by Shamar Stewart. I think that he is going to have a very good year because he's going to be a complementary player instead of being looked at as a pillar so early in his career. Let that guy breathe a bit. Let that guy kind of adjust. This defense was so bad. They were too bad to bring in all these rookies and expect the rookies to go carry the load. Can't do it that way. That's why I like the addition of all the veterans. Who knows when we'll see Shamar Stewart back, but we will, once more updates are out on that, we'll continue to keep you updated nonetheless. Ron Howard says if the Bengals are serious about making their defense a contender, then make an offer for Vita Vea. All bark, no bite. Some things never change. I don't know where you're getting that from. Look, I don't think this Bengals defense is going to be as good as people are making it out to be. I do think that it's going to be much improved. Sure, go out and get a Vita Vea. Do what you got to do. But I don't know what the hell that has to do with anything right now. I think that I just want to see what this Bengals team is with these guys right now. And if Shamar Stewart, if this injury is going to be, significant and bleed into the start of the season, they restructured Joe Burrow's contract, right? Like, they still have money to spend. I think a lot of teams have freed up money because when camp starts and teams start to cut down their rosters, some are going to do just salary dumps and cut guys that not because they're bad, but just because they need to clear up space and clear up cap space, this, that, and the other. That's where the Bengals can go in and swoop in and add another player or two. I still think there's a good chance they could add a linebacker. I still think there's a good chance, but if Shamar Stewart's going to be out, for a significant amount of time, maybe they turn their attention towards that position. nonetheless. But who knows? Ron Howard also says Baker's not going anywhere. He's under contract for the season, and if talks stall, he will be franchised. I don't think he is going anywhere for the season. I think he's going to play the final year of his contract, and I don't think that the Bucks are going to franchise tag him. I think that the fact that there was no urgency to get an extension done with Baker shows that they're okay if he walks after the year. We saw the same thing with Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold would kind of go on and win a Super Bowl after. So maybe the Bucks see that and maybe not want to do that. But I do think that the option is let Baker walk or give him $50 million. I think you got to let Baker walk. $50 million for Baker, if you are the Bucks, is a lot. But bringing, we'll get to that later. My prediction about the Browns and a Baker Mayfield, reuniting next year, that prediction is starting to look more and more likely as this progresses. But we'll get into more of that coming up here in just a little bit. All right. It's the Justin Kinner Show, presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. 937-518-1410. Text or call. You can also leave your opinion in the comments in the chat on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We'll be right back.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
When you can't see, you can't react. Too many railroad crossings have deadly sight obstructions that block drivers' views of oncoming trains. When you can't see the train, you can't react in time. These tragedies are preventable. Clearing vegetation and installing gates saves lives. Report bad railroad crossings at angelsontrack.org. That's angelsontrack.org. Because bad crossings kill good drivers. Sponsored by Angels on Track, aired by OAB and this station.
Less than 4 in 10 kids aged 6 through 12 are playing sports regularly. 4 in 10 kids? Let it sink in. Just 4 in 10 kids. ESPN is building a nationwide coalition powered by Disney called Take Back Sports, with the purpose of training more coaches, expanding access, and creating community-driven sports programming that puts kids and fun first. We're working on that story. We hope you'll join us.
Visit takebacksports.org to learn more.
That'll be $84.52.
Perfect. Grab the bags, honey.
Mom, why do you always check your phone before we pay?
I'm just claiming my cash back on the Upside app. Since we're getting the groceries here and we filled up the car on the way, I've already earned enough this morning to pay for that pizza night we're having Friday.
Wait, so the app pays for pizza?
Not exactly, but the cash I earn on stuff we need helps us pay for the stuff we want. It's just a little win for our family every week.
Get more out of your everyday. Upside is the free app that gets you cash back on routine purchases like gas, groceries, and dining out at more than 100,000 locations nationwide. No points, no rebates, just cash back straight to your wallet. Download the free Upside app and use promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus on your first purchase. That's promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus. Remember, use promo code ACT5.
Offers vary by user and location of participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
I loved playing high school sports. I loved the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, all the pageantry, and I wanted to keep playing. But I graduated. No colleges called, and neither did the pros. So, to stay close to the game I loved, I decided to become a high school official. You know, a referee. When I played high school sports, I learned the importance of integrity, good sportsmanship, and respect for the rules. Now, as a high school official, I get to help model these same values to others. Maybe the colleges and the pros didn't call, but the kids in Ohio did. And now, I'm enjoying the competition, the camaraderie, the bands, the crowds, and all the pageantry of high school sports all over again.
Interested in becoming a licensed high school official? Go to highschoolofficials.com to learn more and begin the application process.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show here, 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, you got Jamar Chase showing fire and urgency and passion. Things are chippy at camp. You have Karras and others who are talking about, how they hate going up against Dexter Lawrence in practice. They can't wait to just go up, how much better he's going to make them. There's all these great things coming out of camp. And then, there's Joe Burrow talking about his new telescope. Cool. He says, pretty cool. He got a telescope. The volume on that's not high enough, so I'm just going to play that later. But I don't know what the media's obsession is with just talking to him about some of the stupidest things in the world. Hey, you have Joe Burrow here. You have a chance to talk to him about this upcoming season, how you've missed the playoffs for 3 straight years. But yeah, let's waste questions on the telescope. I don't know why I'm so irritated today with that stuff. So I'm just going to move on to something else that makes me happy. But it's insane, the creepy love affair that you guys have with that quarterback. It's very creepy. The media does it too. I mean, oh my God. I mean, everyone's going, there's tweets right here. Joe Burrow drops the fact that he bought a telescope in the offseason. This is a tweet. This is what's coming out of camp. I don't care about Joe Burrow's telescope or his Power Ranger collection or whatever the hell else. All this stuff. He loves talking about all these. He has his Heisman hidden at home and his swords and his samurai swords and his Power Ranger collection and his little weird fashionista outfits and all this stuff. I don't care about, the galaxies and nebula. I don't care about aliens. I don't care about any of that stuff. But apparently, the respected Bengals media loves just sitting there talking with Joe Burrow about that. I don't get it. And I guess I talk about that stuff with him because you guys love it. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm a big Julian Sayin fan. I don't give a rip about if he got a telescope in the offseason. I mean, you guys, oh my God, Joe Burrow got a telescope. I think I got to get a telescope. If Joe Burrow has a telescope, I got to get a telescope. It's weird. The coverage of him is weird. It is. Like, you guys could say it's not. It is. When he learned how to play the piano a few years ago, you guys lost your mind because, oh my God, Joe Burrow learned how to play the piano. He's playing the piano. He bought a telescope. He has a samurai sword. He loves the Power Rangers. All right. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. It drives me insane. So let's talk about something else that drives me insane. How about those Cincinnati Reds?
Swung on in the air, right center field and deep. Back goes the center fielder, leaping at the wall. It is caught. Oh, I don't believe it. What a catch by Dane Myers, leaping into the wall in right center field. Myers makes a sensational catch to save the game.
Wow, that is full speed into the Elk and Elk sign with no breakdown. What a play. Sacrifice your body, and Dane Myers comes down with it.
What a play by Myers, and that's it. Reds win it 2-0 to beat the Guardians.
Reds win 2-0 over the Guardians. That was the call as Dane Myers saves the day for the Reds yesterday. I don't think that ball would have actually left the ballpark. I think when they kind of slowed it down, I mean, I think it would have hit just the very top of the wall. It wouldn't have even hit that strip at the top that would have made it a home run, but it doesn't matter. Dane Myers, no regard for his body, just absolutely drills the wall and gets that catch. And, of course, he was ripped for making some bad defensive plays, or the one really bad defensive play against the Cubs in a series early on in the first half. And a lot of people, and that's what sucks for some of these guys. They're being moved around a lot to different positions, and so they're put in vulnerable spots. But seeing him and there was a couple diving plays yesterday, for the Reds defensively, and I'll take it. Dane Myers right now, that was a huge game-saving play, because let's be real, like there was already a runner on first. If that's a home run, it ties it up. The Reds have been better in close games recently. They've been, they obviously just closed out the Cardinals series with an extra innings win the other day. So they've been better in the second half, but I'm also not going to sit here and act like the second half has been this long, drawn-out thing. It's been a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's been 3 series. This is their 4th, and if they win tonight, this will be their 4th straight series win, and it would be a 4th straight series win that I think would definitely is deserving of getting people's attention. I think that 2-0 win yesterday was phenomenal for a lot of reasons. This bullpen deserved all the arrows that were shot at them in the first half of the season. This bullpen, though, has been pretty damn good over the last 3 or 4 series, this being the 4th series. That was huge yesterday, going the bullpen route. I wasn't a fan of that. When the game got rained out the other night for Chase Burns, I was curious if they were going to kind of shake things up a bit, and they were. There was a lot of people making something like Brady Singer was technically supposed to pitch yesterday, last night's game, right? He was supposed to pitch last night's game, and a lot of people started getting a little nervous because they came out and said, okay, well, Chase Burns is going to pitch game 1 of the doubleheader, and it'll be a bullpen game for game 2 of the doubleheader. So right away, that was supposed to be, if it doesn't get rained out Tuesday night, then it would have been Chase Burns Tuesday, and then it would have been, of course, obviously, or Monday night, whenever. I got all these nights all mixed up. But Monday night would have been Chase Burns. Tuesday night would have been Brady Singer. So why would they move Brady Singer from last night's game? They went a bullpen game anyways. Everyone thought that, oh, man, maybe that's a sign he's about to be traded. But he's on the mound tonight. He's still listed as the starter for the Reds tonight. So he may not be on the way out the door yet. But this very well could be, okay, because I think Brady Singer wouldn't pitch again until next Tuesday at home against the Athletics, okay? So Brady Singer could very well be pitching his final game as a Red tonight. I hope that's not the case. I hope that we do get to see Brady Singer pitch again. I think the guy's been lights out, and that's all the reasons why you should trade him. I get that. But if there's any sense of belief in that front office that this team can go on a run, and they're in the midst of one now, but if there's any sense of belief that this team can go on a run and get into the postseason, Brady Singer, you're making your team worse if you move on from him. And if they do move on from Brady Singer, I can't be angry at the front office. I have to be angry at the Cincinnati Reds players. I blame the players. I blame the bullpen players. I blame Eugenio Suarez. I blame a lot of players. I don't blame Terry Francona. I don't blame Nick Krall. You guys know my take on this. Nick Krall was to blame. Everyone wanted, his head on the chopping block in the first half of the season. Why? Oh, because the team wasn't winning. Well, the same players that weren't winning in the first half are doing what they're supposed to now, and guess what? They're winning. Sometimes you do have to look at the players and just say, y'all sucked. Y'all need to get your heads out of your behinds. Because when you get your heads out of your behinds, you're you're pretty good. You're not elite. You're not great. You're not the favorites to win a World Series. But with Hunter Green and Chase Burns and a Brady Singer and a Andrew Abbott, who was phenomenal, Rhett Lauder Rhett Lauder who will pitch later this week. Nick Lodolo, hopefully he's back, sooner rather than later, right? Like, we know these guys could pitch. And when it's complemented by Ellie, by Sal Stewart, by Suarez, all right, when they're complemented by those guys, that matters. And that's what we've seen. That's what has allowed them to come out of the gates with 3 straight series wins and a chance to make it forward tonight with Brady Singer on the mound. So I am curious your guys' thoughts. Brady Singer on the mound tonight. Is this the final Brady Singer start for your Cincinnati Reds? 937-518-1410. Let me know in the chat on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page or the Justin Kinner Show YouTube channel. Leave your comments in there, and I'll jump on that. Or you could text into the show, 937-518-1410. Phone lines are open for the next couple of minutes as well. I mean, I hope not. There's a very realistic chance that this could be the last start for Brady Singer. The next time we could see Brady Singer make a start for the Reds will be next Tuesday against the Athletics. So that is something to keep in mind as far as when's the next time that we could see Brady Singer. So keep that in mind as far as that's concerned. But a lot of interesting games coming up. So Brady Singer on the mound tonight. And then a 4-game series with the Pirates. The Reds go immediately after tonight. They go right into a 4-game stretch with the Pirates. And that's another series that I find fascinating as well, because I kept saying, man, that Cardinal series, and it was mainly because of the Nick Craw comments about, when we get back from this road trip, this 9-game road trip, we'll evaluate where we are and decide where we're going based on what they do. And to win the 3 straight series that they have and to win, have a chance to win this series tonight, I think would go a long way into setting up this Pirates. I think regardless, the Reds are taking calls on everybody. I think that there are calls going on, and I think they've hinted as much. And I think that's good standard practice. I think that even teams who are in first place right now are fielding calls for certain guys just because they want to get a feel for what the market is like for some of their guys on the roster. So that, I believe, is happening. But if they win this Guardian series and then this 4-game stretch with the Pirates coming up, you have Rhett Lauder on the mound for game 1, and you're going to have Hunter Green and Chase Burns pitch against the Pirates as well. And Chase Burns will pitch on Sunday, which is the final day before the trade deadline the very next day. And the Reds are off on the trade deadline, by the way. August 3rd, the Reds are off. They do not play that day. So that's interesting, and that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I'm excited for the trade deadline because I think we're really going to have a good feel for what the front office believes. I don't know what they believe. And I think that this team has put the front office in a bad spot. You guys don't want to feel bad for the front office. You shouldn't. I'm not saying I feel bad for them like I'm crying for them, but I do feel bad because I think that they put a better roster together than you guys want to give them credit for. I think that this roster let them down. I think that they mishandled Hunter Green's injury. I mean, we found out that Hunter Green was experiencing shooting pain in his elbow over the final 4 or 5 starts of the 2025 season, including the playoffs. And yet the Reds didn't act on that. Like, they didn't make him have that surgery right when the season ended. He had the surgery right as spring training was beginning. So I'm very frustrated that they mishandled that. But overall, I thought that they killed it with the bullpen. All right, Shaw, who I'm about to bring on here in a moment, him and I clashed about this bullpen. The reason I was stubbornly bullish about the bullpen is because, well, look what we're watching now. The bullpen, this is what I expected from them in the first half. And this is what the Reds expected of them. This is what a lot of these guys have looked like throughout their career. This is what was expected of them. So you're seeing it now. But I think that this roster has put the front office in a bad spot, which is fair because this front office has always put the rosters in bad spots throughout its history. But I do believe that the front office put a better roster together than you want to give them credit for. And it might be too little too late. I see both sides of the argument. I hate being that host. I hate radio hosts who see both sides of the argument. But on this one, I truly do. I would be all in on the Reds saying, Suarez, you're not going anywhere. Brady Singer, you're not going anywhere. Stevenson might be on the way out, but even then, I wouldn't mind if the Reds, I really wouldn't care if the Reds didn't move anyone of significance just for prospects. the Spencer Steer thing. I would have been fascinated to see what would have happened had he not got hurt, as far as that goes. But I think they win tonight, and you, again, keep it going against Pittsburgh. That would be proof right there that this is not the same team from the first half of the season. And that would be proof to me right there that this front office needs to be very careful with which button that they push for this team moving forward. Let's go to Shaw. Shaw, Brady Singer's on the mound tonight. Is this his last start as a Red?
I don't understand why he's starting, period. So in that realm, I guess, yes, the answer is yes. But to me, if I was Mr. Crawl, I wouldn't be starting him tonight because I don't want to take the chance of him getting injured and then not being able to deal him. His contract ends at the end of the season, and I would get rid of every contract that I could that expires at the end of the season. Now, the caveat to that is I agree with you. They shouldn't be getting rid of them just to get rid of them. They should be trying to get, and I said this last week on air, they should be trying to get MLB talent that can help this ball club this year and next year for the next 2-3 years. So if all you're getting is callbacks about prospects and we want Singer and we'll give you our 15th best guy and our 17th best, no, then I'm hanging up the phone. But if we want to talk about actual MLB talent that's proven, that has been solid and could actually help this ball club, right now, I'd set Singer out and do another bullpen game. And I know that goes against what you and I were arguing against earlier in the season, but the joy of that is now we're here and getting ready to be in August, and that changes the parameters of things.
Sean, just to jump in. I don't think I've ever, and I'm not saying it's never happened, I've never heard of a team doing back-to-back bullpen games. Have you?
I believe the Orioles did it a couple years ago. I mean,
they could still call someone up from Louisville. I don't know who that would be, but they could have still called somebody up to throw them out there. That's why I'm like, I almost feel like this Brady Singer game tonight is, hey, you win this and we win this series. Now we're cooking with gas, and maybe they don't move on from him. But he's like, there's no player option. There's no. I mean, the only way Brady Singer's back, and by the way, Shaw, maybe they do bring him back next year. Maybe they don't want to trade him because they want to bring him back next year. Who knows? But I thought it was strange last night to not start him. You would have thought you would have done the bullpen game tonight and try to get both games yesterday. Now they got game 2. It doesn't matter, but it's just it was an I didn't understand that decision. I still don't know the rationale behind that at the end of the day.
I don't get it either. My baseball mind says don't start him tonight, whether you trade him or not, just because you don't want him to get hurt, and that kind of forces your hand. But on the other hand, you want him to go out there and prove himself to prove that he's actually worth the trade too. So that's the joy of the job. That's what the money's for, is what they say. That's the reason why Crawl's in the position he's in, is to make these type of decisions for the betterment of the ball club. And I'm torn down the middle. And again, like you said, and I know I'm not the host, but as a caller, I don't like being torn down the middle, but I see both sides of it. Yes, you want to compete this year and try to see what you can do, but on the ultimate end of it, I'm torn because I don't think this team can win. I don't think this team could even win a pennant, let alone go win the World Series. I just don't think the team can win the NLCS. So at the end of the day, for me, as the type of fan that I am, if you're not winning anything, then what are we doing?
Well, I still think a chance to get to the playoffs matters, and it's unfortunate because and here's the other thing, Shaw, that's going to be exposed, because keep in mind, I don't think the front office is saying, well, if we're not good enough to win a World Series, then we're just going to blow this up. That's not the bar. The front office doesn't have a World Series bar. And I don't even think us as Reds fans do. And I don't think it's fair to not that it's not fair. It's not fair to us that we can't think that way. You got to think about how this front office thinks. This front office is all about just make the playoffs. Last year was a massive success. They made the playoffs. That's what the bar is for this team. So for who the Reds are and what their goal is just to make the playoffs. That is a big deal, and this team is within striking distance of that. And with this pitching staff and now being supported, although a short sample size, but still what I expected from them. Now the bullpen's complimenting them. You're swinging the bats above average now from where you were in the first half. That's where I'm like, I feel like this front office is not just going to squander. There's not a lot of playoff opportunities for this franchise in the recent decades. So you have a chance here with this pitching staff. I have a hard time believing they're going to shoot themselves in the foot unless the Pirates, or, they lose tonight and then the Pirates punch them in the face. And if that happens, I could see them doing it. But if not, if they keep winning, I don't see them blowing this up. I just don't. The bar's too low. It's seriously just about the playoffs. And we may disagree on this. I still think making the playoffs is a big deal. It's hard to do. And this team is in a spot to have a chance to do it. And I don't think they have enough time left on the clock of Ellie and others for them to say, well, we can make the playoffs this year, but I don't know how good we'll be. So we'll just kick the can down the road and try again later. There won't be a season next year. And you only have a year or two left with Ellie after that. Beggars can't be choosers. I think they have to try and make the playoffs right now.
And that's where this franchise and this sport has beaten us down as a fan base. Because when the goal is just to make the playoffs, I'm sorry to say it this way, but it's just a loser mentality.
But this team was never going to win a World Series. Even if they played the way I expected them to coming into the season, I was higher on them than you. But even if they would have lived up to what my expectation would be, I don't even care if they would have finished at 95 wins. I still don't think this team could win a World Series. Even if this team played up to its potential, it's still not a World Series team. And I don't think that there's enough moves out there for this team to ever make realistically to be a World Series team. So knowing that, I don't think your expectations are realistic either. That, as far as that goes.
It's not that that's the full. I mean, because that's the differential between being a fan and looking at it from the front office's point of view.
Yeah.
From a fan's point of view, yes, I completely agree. We should be trying to make the playoffs and all of that other aspect of it. But from the front office's point of view, once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. With this, as you've pointed out throughout the entire season, and I do agree with it, with this pitching staff, you have a chance in every series you go into. I think once it starts going to 7 games and the longer it goes in every series, I think that advantage kind of goes away a little bit because the offense lacks. But once you make the playoffs, anything can happen. So I know that's going against my argument, but on the other hand, from the front office's point of view, if you think all you can do is make the playoffs, well, then that looks back onto what you did in the offseason and said, well, we didn't do enough to prepare this roster enough to actually go out there and
but that's
win.
what I mean. I don't think those moves exist. Shaw, even if they would have got Kyle Schwarber, I don't think this team's still not I'm being serious here. There's no realistic moves this team can make with the way they operate to ever be a World Series team. So knowing that, the moves they have made have still put them in a position to make the playoffs, which as a fan, I will never, knowing how the Reds operate, I can't have that mindset of World Series or I'm not interested. And I think that's actually a dangerous spot to live. For college football, for us, that's why when our team loses one game in the middle of the season, we're ready to give up on them, right? Because hey, I don't care about just making the expanded playoff. I want to be a championship contender. I don't care just about making, but with the Reds, it is just about making the playoffs. It's like a mid-major being a mid-major fan. Right state for me. They're never going to get to a Final Four or win a national championship. But so because of that, should I just never root for them to make the big dance? Hell no. I want them to get there and make some noise. Same thing with Dayton and others. So that's how I view the Reds. It's a mid-major mindset. It sucks that that's the case, but that's just the reality of it. And if you don't accept that, then what's the point of even being a fan of this team to begin with? Because you're never going to be happy at the end of the day.
But I see your point, but my counter to that is that's because that's the parameters this front office puts themselves.
But they're not going to fire themselves. They're not going anywhere.
I understand all that, and I get, and that this is the ultimate fight of the Reds fan base since 1995 until today. Should the front office be actually going out there to win ball games and go make the playoffs and actually be competitive, or should they go out there to make money and make themselves happy? This has been the argument since day one. This is why me and you go at each other at the beginning of the season. This is why the fan base goes at Lance McAllister, and this is why the fan base goes off on everybody else.
No, but see, we're not disagreeing, though, Shaw. We're agreeing. We agree that the front office should be thinking about a World Series, that it should be about building a contender. I agree with you on that. But where we're splitting here is I know how this team operates, and that's just not going to be the case. And we know that that's not going to be the case. So it's up to us to decide how we're going to fan. And I'm not, there's ain't a shot at you. I feel like I'm just being more of a realistic fan, because rather than sit here and try to hope that they're going to do something that they never do, I'm just accepting how they do operate and try to find some kind of happiness within that bubble. But you holding him to a World Series standard, you're going to be let down all the time. All the time.
And one can say that, yes, I understand that, because that's the loser mentality that this front office has put on this fan base. But my point about it is, because the front office doesn't want to do what they're supposed to do, that means as a fan base, we're supposed to relax and just allow them to do whatever they want. And I understand your point that if you hold them to the World Series standard, then you're never going to be happy as a fan base. Well, I did grow up early enough to where I understood what 1990 and 1995 meant. And I'm sorry that's the standard that I have for this ball club, and I'm sorry that that's what I hold this front office to. I mean, I understand you got to take the wins when you can take them and stuff like that, but I refuse to take the mentality that this front office refuses to do anything, so I should just be happy when they go 85 and whatever.
I didn't say you should be happy, but
I know you're not. I know that's not what you're saying. But that's the reality that this front office has put us into, that fans like you and me have to go at each other to say, well, I'm not saying that you have to take it as face value. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is it just further points my argument every single season that it doesn't have to be this way. And I understand it's going to be this way, but until the cows come home and the front office or whoever wakes up and actually does what they're supposed to do with this baseball team, then this is how I'm going to feel about it. Because there's no reason why they can't go out. And I'm not saying they have to be a top 8 roster in baseball. I've never once said that. All they have to do is be top 15, be top half, spend some money. I'm not saying you have to go out and get the Sotos of the world. I'm not saying you have to go out and spend an exorbitant amount of money for even going higher than Kyle Schwarber. What I'm saying is fill the roster. Fill it. There were holes in this roster when you and I were talking at Reds Fest. They never got filled.
And they won't. This team will never be deep. I'll never have the expectation of them actually being deep all up and down. There's always going to be multiple chunks of weaknesses on this team. Always. By the way, like if Hunter Green was healthy all season and Ellie doesn't get hurt for a month, you realize that this team would have 4 All-Stars on it. And I can't think of a worse team to have 4 All-Stars. I can't think of a team in history to have up to 4 All-Stars and nothing to show for it. Like if Ellie doesn't get hurt, he's an All-Star. If Hunter, it doesn't miss, another 3 or 4 months in a year like he always does, he would have been an All-Star. So to me, again, guys that they've developed all that, like they do a lot of things really well, but the things that they do so poorly is what cancels it all out. We're going back and forth. We're saying a lot of the same things, but at the end of the day, based on what we know now, though, the thing is, we could talk about moving Brady Singer and getting what? You're not going to get a huge return. I've heard other analysts and other shows where people say, man, it's going to set them back years. So you mean not moving on from Brady Singer is going to set this team back years? I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I have a hard time believing that the Reds are going to be set back years because they don't move on from a Tyler Stevenson or a Brady Singer or a guy that's barely hitting over 200 in Eugenio Suarez at this point. I think some of these guys have more value to the Reds for the back half of this season than they do off this roster at this point. For guys that will do the same song and dance with here in a couple years, who knows?
There's just better options at those positions that they could go out and get. But ultimately, at the end of the day, correct. When
can they go out and get better options at those positions?
Those positions can get taken care of right now. You can trade Tyler Stevenson for a better catcher right now. You can trade Brady
Tyler
Singer
Stevenson's
for a better
not
starter.
elite. He's not great. So you're not going to get a great return for him.
Right now, to me, if I'm the front office, any catcher is better than Tyler Stevenson.
Then how does he have any value? How does he have any value if that's the case?
That's because there's better options available somewhere else.
So why would those better options be sent to the Reds for a worse option?
They're worse to us. This is me and yours argument from day one. I don't understand the analytics that says Tyler Stevenson's a great catcher. I don't understand it. I don't understand the analytics that says Brady Singer is a quality pitcher. To me, as a front office, if I was another team, yes, I'm not trading for either one of those. That's why ultimately I said I don't think they're going anywhere. I'm with you. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this entire phone call wraps all the way back around to, yeah, I don't think they're going to do a darn thing. And it's that, but that leads to my frustration because, as usual, it's another wasted season because they don't do anything that they should do. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm agreeing with you. Yes, the roster will stay together. They'll fight through August. They'll fight through September, and they'll make the playoffs to get swept by the Dodgers all over again. And then you and I can debate in December whether that was a good thing or not. And that does nothing for me. When I'm 45 years old, 44, rolling on 45, and to sit there and say, "Yep, my baseball team made the playoffs again," what'd that get you? What'd that get you at the end of the day?
You're old as hell, by the way. I didn't know you were that old.
I know I am.
You're
I
close
know
to
I
death,
am. I'm
dude.
old enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember the Wolverines were good. They stunk, and then they were good again, and now we're going to stink again. That's how old I am. I can give you the cyclical of the Bengals. I can give you the cyclical of college football. You were talking about college football earlier. Yeah, that's the old state mentality where they lose one game in the middle of the season. We all get frustrated and mad and angry. That you've said this as much as anybody. That ain't the era of this football. You can lose 2 or 3 games now and still make the playoff. So, I mean, and if you're the right team, I mean, if you're Notre Dame, then you can't make it, or if you're Texas, you can't make it. But I mean, if you're the right team and you got an A on your helmet, or you got some Buckeye leaves on your helmet, you'll make it. But I mean, it is what it is. So.
All right, we'll go spread that joy elsewhere. All right, we'll do this again some other time.
Go Blue. See you.
There it is. 937-518-1410. The Justin Kidder Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Yeah, like I look, Brady Singer on the mound tonight. You know, you got to trade guys to make your team better. And if the Reds feel, all right, and if the Reds feel like and by the way, they're in the play, you're within striking distance. You're within 5 games. Like, this idea that this team's out of it is stupid. It's not like they're 9-10 games back. If they're 8, 9, 10 games back, I'm with you enough. But this team's playing good baseball right now. So I think moving on from Tyler Stevenson is stupid, because I don't think Tyler Stevenson's been great. He's been solid. But if you're going to move on from Tyler Stevenson because you think you can get something better, who's giving up something better for Tyler Stevenson? No, nobody. Brady Singer, what's he going to get you? Well, prospects. And prospects aren't the worst thing, but are prospects worth making your team worse down the back end? Like, the Reds are within 5 games of a playoff spot. It's tough to build a playoff contender. And if the Reds punt on this season and you don't have a 2027 season, that puts all the pressure on them. It puts all the pressure to build a contender for the final 2 years of Elly De La Cruz. You're not promised to be within 5 games in August in the next couple of years. You have it right now. Baseball is hard. It is hard. Just because you are there right there now doesn't mean you'll be there a year from now. Like last year, we thought, man, all right, that was, year 1 of Terry Francona. Great. And that's year 1. Imagine how much better this team's going to be in a year. You could argue this team's not better in a year, but they're still within this. You're not promised anything, but it's not like other sports where, hey, we're this good at this point this year. We're only going to keep getting better because we're only going to keep adding players. That's not how it works. Injuries, it's a long season. Other teams making moves, like you're not promised anything. You right now, though, are within 5 games of a playoff spot, and you need to bust your ass to try to close that deal. Because this idea that, we'll just trade Brady Singer and get prospects, and Suarez and Stevenson and get prospects, and that way we don't set our franchise back 4 years. What? So you're going to give up and start losing a bunch of games, and then you're going to that doesn't make any sense. Keep trying to freaking win with the pieces you have on this roster now. Hell, go try to get pieces at the deadline. You're within 5 games, and you're finally Tyler Stevenson, Eugenio Suarez, Sal Stewart. All right. Elly De La Cruz. Right. Like you don't have a lot of depth in this lineup. So why would you take a piece away and make this team worse? You're running out of time to compete with Elly De La Cruz. And you may not like that they're not competing at a higher level than what they are now, but at least they're competing right now. At least they're within striking distance of a playoff spot right now. So don't screw it up. Don't do this boneheaded, arrogant thing where you think, well, go get prospects and we'll try this again in 2028, because there will be no 2027 season. And guess what? You got to make a decision on Ellie De La Cruz in 2029, which means you technically have to make a decision in 2028. So this is the last loosey-goosey year with Ellie De La Cruz that you could technically go out there and just compete and try without that cloud looming over your franchise. So to me, you have Hunter Green still, you have Chase Burns, you have Brady Singer, who's on the mound tonight, Andrew Abbott, Rhett Leiter, Nick Lodolo's coming back. This bullpen has looked very, very good ever since they've gotten healthy and got locked in. Guys are hitting. You have Terry Francona. You're within 5 games of a playoff spot. This team has a chance. So don't be stupid and go, well, let's give up this year so that we can get prospects for years from now. Yeah, and look at the guys on the team right now. The Reds punted on trying to compete in previous seasons to get these players so that they can compete now, just so that they can punt with these guys on the roster now. When is the future now? When is now where you decide the hell with the future and not being reckless, but the hell with the future? We don't always have to make every move for the future. At some point, you got to make moves to win now. Stop making moves for 3-4 years from now and make moves for a team that right now is within 5 games of a playoff spot, when you easily have the best rotation of any of those teams in this playoff race right now. And you have Ellie De La Cruz. You have Sal Stewart, who is no longer just a good rookie. He's one of the best hitters in freaking baseball. Go get somebody. Go add another weapon in this lineup. I'm so tired of hearing about the future. When is the future now? When is this team just going to make a move now? You know what? We heard it all the time with the Bengals. You don't trade a first-round pick. You gotta draft and develop these guys. That's how you develop for the future. And the Bengals said, we don't have to give up the future to try to compete now. Dexter Lawrence helps us win now and in the next couple of years as well. That's what it should be about. And Nick Krall trying to make moves to help the team 3-4 years from now, when Nick Krall won't be here 3 or 4 years from now, doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about, well, Brady Singer shouldn't even be on the mound tonight. What the hell are you talking about? He shouldn't be on the mound tonight. They have a chance to win a series tonight. I don't want to win this series tonight, so we're going to take Brady Singer off the mound because we don't want to win now. We want to win 3 years from now. And that's what you said 3 years ago. And here you are with the chance, and you're punting for another 3 or 4 year stretch. I'm so sick. This is why I hate baseball. Baseball pisses me off at this stuff. I hate baseball when it comes to this. I literally hate it. You know, in the NFL, you know, like the Bengals defense was bad. And look, they and this is why I didn't like their drafting philosophy the last couple of years, not complimenting it with free agents. But like, you're bad, you could become good really quickly. All right. The NBA, you're bad, you could become good really quickly if you go out and you just invest into free agency and this, that, and the other. Trade, deadlines, this, that, everything else. Like, look at the trade deadline for a lot of teams in the NFL over the last couple of years. Look at what the Bengals did with getting Joe Flacco. They didn't make the playoffs last year, but damn it, Joe Flacco came in and gave him a shot. No, they gave him a shot. We can't give up draft picks for Joe Flacco. We got the future to think of. Well, no, the Bengals were at least aggressive and went out and got Joe Flacco, who easily looked like still a top QB in the league. I know he's not, but damn it, did he look like it? It was a good trade. An aggressive move by the Bengals gave him a chance to overcome their deficiencies to make the playoffs last year. An aggressive move by the Bengals front office is giving them a chance to go compete for a Super Bowl this year. And that's all you ask for. It doesn't mean that every aggressive move is going to work out, but at least you Bengals fans, you didn't feel like after week 2 of last year when Joe Burrow went out, you didn't feel like the front office just punted on it. Give us a chance. You couldn't be mad now, and so I don't have to hear about 3 years from now. You do everything you can to build your franchise to get prospects like a Chase Burns, like a Sal Stewart, like an Ellie De La Cruz, and to get all of them at the same time. And you don't, and you want this team to get generational. To get a Chase, like the Reds have got, like Andrew Abbott's your typical good pitcher that the Reds get and develop. Nick Lodolo, when he's healthy, very good. That's your typical Reds type of pitcher that they get and develop. Solid, gives you a chance to win when he's on the mound. But then there's your Hunter Greens. Then there's your Chase Burns. And then there's your Ellie De La Cruzes. And then there's your Sal Stewarts. And then there's those types of players that you're like, oh, this is why we went through that 90-loss season. This is why we go through those 85 to 90-loss seasons for a couple years so that we could build up our prospect pool and experience this. So you want me to be, as a fan, put up with trading players today to build up the prospect pool for the future just so that we can see a team build up a roster with Ellie and Sal and Hunter and Chase and still punt for down the road? That doesn't make any sense. The hell with prospects if even when you get good ones, you're still not going to try to win with the good ones. This team needs help. And instead of getting it help, you're like, hey, let's take one of the few players that is playing well for this team and get rid of them. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. I hate baseball for this very reason right here. I hate the Reds at times for this very reason right here. I am sick of it. It is 4:24. I was supposed to go to break. Like, I've been recording this. This is so unprofessional. This has been a 35-minute segment of me just going on this long rant. My bad. My apologies. But I am so sick of baseball for this mindset. To hear other shows actually say, if they don't trade Brady Singer, if they don't do this, they're going to set the I'm sorry, Brady Singer I really like, is really good. But if the franchise gets set back 3 or 4 years because you don't move on from Brady Singer at the deadline, then this franchise has way more problems than I thought. To me, setting a franchise back years and years and years is not trying to compete now when you have a Sal Stewart, an Ellie De La Cruz, a Chase Burns, and a Hunter Green. Now, I'll go to break. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Wednesday.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, mostly clear, 60 tonight. It'll be sunny, 84 tomorrow and Friday. Mostly sunny and 87. I'm Rick Schremp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it. Like that. Ask your phone. Group chat. Smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696 and manage your diabetes as easy as...
When you first saw her, she was out walking her dog. You didn't notice her at first. But when you finally did, it was too late. Because at that moment, you were speeding. She was out walking her dog and only had a second to let go of the leash. Your foot was on the gas, and her life was on the line. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Save big money on your next painting project when you shop at Menards. Get long-lasting color with Pittsburgh's Distinction Exterior Paint. It's a paint and primer in one, plus it's highly dirt-resistant to maintain a clean appearance. Save big money on Distinction Exterior Paint. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards and get your project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Being present and in the moment for family activities was impossible because Will Burt was so focused on the constant pain in his leg.
My wife likes to take walks. I always kind of dreaded going on walks because they hurt. The boys both play baseball. I coach their teams. I was going to do them and be in pain and be uncomfortable and kind of sacrifice my own health.
An old Achilles injury left Will coping with agonizing pain until he discovered the natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No surgery or steroids. The procedure took place in the office, and Will walked right out.
I feel great. There's no pain. There's no tenderness.
Patients like Will are feeling amazing and living their best lives.
Ironically, just got off the golf course today, so I think that's a good telltale sign that the Achilles is feeling better.
Don't be in pain another day. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. 4:30 here in the Miami Valley, 4:31 to be exact. Tomorrow's show, excited for tomorrow's show. Mark Adams is going to be in studio with us. He's going to talk about his new book that is out. I'm excited about that. I don't really read a lot of books. I know, shocking, right? A well-educated person like me. No, I've actually, my wife is making fun. She goes, "You're reading?" She thought I was being weird. I sit on the couch reading the book. But yeah, I'm excited to finish this book before Mark comes in tomorrow. But Mark Adams will be in with us tomorrow, college basketball, analyst with ESPN, but also now has a very popular book that's out there. It's one of the top sold books on Amazon right now. So again, we'll preview that with him tomorrow, and we will talk Dayton Flyers. We will talk, of course, Miami. We'll talk, Xavier, Cincinnati. We'll talk Wright State. In fact, on tomorrow's show, we'll introduce you to Wright State's new athletic director, Brad Chandler. So Brad Chandler started back on the 20th. He's 9 days in. He's been pulled in 85 different directions, now 86, as he's going to be coming on the show with me tomorrow. So looking forward to meeting and catching up with the new athletic director for Wright State. Mark Adams is going to be in studio. Pretty cool. Mike Golick is going to be on with us on Friday. The return of Mike Golick to ESPN Radio. Pretty excited about that. In fact, next Monday, the Golicks, a new ESPN Radio lineup. You'll have Unsportsmanlike from 6 to 10. And then you'll have the Golicks, Mike Golick Jr., who when he was with ESPN, he would come on all the time along with Jason Fitz. He was a regular on the show. He's going to be back on the show regularly moving forward. But it'll be Mike Golick Jr. and Mike Golick on the Golicks after Unsportsmanlike every day from 10 to noon. And then from noon until 3 will be the Rich Eisen Show, perfect lead-in show for us. The Justin Kinner Show from 3 to 6. We will be going back to 3 hours once, the football season gets here. So lot. I love ESPN's lineup. Unsportsmanlike, that show has grown on me. I actually really do like that show. It does a very good job in the mornings for us. The numbers have come out. It's moving well. But to get the Golics back is huge on ESPN radio. But yeah, Chad Kinster, what up, Chad? He says, got in last minute. What's up, Chad? Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Look, we've talked. I think I got my Reds point in. I'm glad Brady Singer's on the mound tonight. I don't think the Reds need to trade him. I actually don't think the Reds need to move on from anyone. I think if they do move on from Stevenson, I get it. But at the same time, think of it like this, okay? The Reds, Stevenson's been one of their best hitters. And he's been hitting for power. He's been putting the ball in play. He's been solid, especially in the second half. Now, he's either trying to hit his way out of Cincinnati. I've noticed that a lot with some of these guys are like, get me the hell out of Cincinnati. And they've just been hitting the snot out of the ball in the second half of the season, right? But no, it's like, okay, if you're going to move on from him, you're not going to get a better hitter in return. So he has value to you in the back half of the season. To say, oh, you're just going to let him walk for nothing. I don't look at nothing being keeping a capable hitter around for the next couple of months to give yourself a chance to compete and fight for a playoff spot. That's not nothing to me. Eugenio Suarez, which, by the way, Suarez has not been good enough this year to get anything of substance. I've said before, I think that Eugenio Suarez, that the chance of him popping off and getting hot, that the chance of that happening brings more value to the Reds than anything they can get in return for him, because he hasn't been very good up to this point, and he's been very good in the back half of the season. The player he's been in the back half of the season is who we expected him to be all season long. And in fact, this team probably wouldn't be in a final wildcard spot right now, but I guarantee you, I mean, you got to think, guys, like think of those games that they just could not muster up any runs and were losing by 1 or 2. If Suarez swings the bat the way he did a year ago, the way he was expected to this year, the Reds probably have 2 to 3 more wins in that first half, and we're talking about a team that's 2 games out. So that's the capability of this team with Suarez swinging the bat the way that he's capable of. So you keep Suarez, you keep Stevenson, you keep Brady Singer. I just think that when people say you can't just not get anything for these guys, yeah, you can, because this idea that you're not getting anything for these guys is kind of stupid. Now, if this team was 10 games back and you don't get anything, that's reckless. Because the purpose of them staying, there's no purpose. But the value in keeping Suarez and the value in keeping Stevenson and the value in keeping Brady Singer, the value in keeping those guys is it keeps you in the playoff hunt. And me as a fan, I want my team in the playoff picture. I don't know. I have no clue why so many fans that you just want to punt on the season. This team's not going to win a World Series. But I'm here to tell you, this idea that you punt until the next season, if you think that they're going to make moves to be a World Series contender next year, the year after, I hate to tell you, but that's not going to be the case either. These are the cards we are dealt as Reds fans. You either got to be excited about a playoff contender or just be miserable all the time that this team will never be a World Series contender with this ownership group. And I'm here to tell you, all right, he's going nowhere. Old Castellini, old Philip, he ain't going anywhere. He just got the team. Like, they just handed him the keys to the car. He's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't like Bob, like, it was one of those, like, kind of hidden stories coming into the season that finally broke, that Bob Castellini is no longer the main shareholder of that team. It's Phil Castellini. Phil Castellini is the head honcho now. He's the main guy in charge. He's going nowhere. So knowing that he's going nowhere, and knowing that this team is just content with being a playoff contender, we got to be content with it either, or go find another team. And that sounds like that very cocky, arrogant, Phil Castellini comment. Where are you going to go? It sucks, but that's just the reality of it. So I say all of that. Stop saying that there is no value. Stop saying that the Reds would be stupid to just get nothing for him. I don't look at keeping them and keeping the Reds in contention for the playoffs as nothing. You're willing to give up any chance of this team making the playoffs this year to get mid-tier prospects that may or may not help you down the road either. Think about it this way, guys. This is the team that has prospects of Ellie De La Cruz, Sal Stewart, Chase Burns, Hunter Green, right? You look at all of these guys. These are the types of talents that the Reds years ago punted on playoff potential seasons or punted on any effort in the offseason because we got to build around these prospects so that we can compete. Well, guess what? These prospects are here. Are we competing? You made us go through 80 and 90 lost seasons to get to this point. That's why we sat through 80 and 90 lost seasons, just to get to within 5 games of a playoff spot heading into August and just say the hell with it and punt on the season. Come on. Stop saying that it would be reckless of the Reds to move on from to not get anything back for those guys. To me, I think it's reckless to punt on a season that you have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. Okay, I think that's reckless. I think giving up on seasons, quitting on seasons is reckless. I think that's reckless. And this delusional idea that the Reds would set themselves back years by keeping Brady Singer and not getting anything in return, yes, because I'm pretty sure that the Yankees sending their 15th ranked prospect for Brady Singer is going to be what keeps the Reds from, digging themselves out of their grave, right? Like, come on. So dramatic with this stuff sometimes. I want to be dramatic with winning. And guess what? If the Reds do keep these guys and they continue competing and they miss the playoffs by 2 or 3 games, that sucks. But at least I felt like our team was trying. I don't like that sports has put you in a position where you're trying to convince me that the right thing to do is quit. Let's quit. Hey, we're within 5 games of a playoff spot. We're winning right now. We have a shot, and you want me to quit? And advanced analytics has convinced you that that's the smart play. This is why I hate advanced analytics. I hate the stat nerds. I hate all that stuff because they think they're smart. I'm smarter than you because I think this team should quit. Okay. Well, you quit, loser, and I'll keep, cheering for my team to compete and show urgency and show that they want to win games. Because to me, when you're within 5 games of a playoff spot and you're playing some of your best baseball right now and you're completely healthy too, I shouldn't say completely healthy, but your main cogs are healthy, and you want me to support quitting? It's not often that you have a Chase Burns and a Hunter Green in a rotation. It's not often that you have a Ellie De La Cruz and a Sal Stewart in a lineup, and you have that. So stop trying to screw this up and just go try to maximize, even with the deficiencies, go maximize it. I'm tired of talking about it, as far as that goes. But nonetheless, what up, Chad? Chad says, I'd only trade Green and get what you can for Blister Boy. Well, you can't get anything for Blister Boy because he's on the IL with that said Blister. Hunter Green, you guys know where I'm at on that. I think if you did, I think it's not, and now no, it's not happening. But I said, about a week or 2 weeks ago before the All-Star break, I said, if you trade Hunter Green, you can get an All-Star bat or 2 back. And with what's left of this rotation, you could still pitch really well. You have a good bullpen, and now you have pop in the lineup. And I think Hunter Green makes your team better if you trade him. But I'm also fine with them not trading him and having a rotation that features Hunter Green and Chase Burns. But all I'm saying is when I say trade Hunter Green, it's to make this team better now. When the stat nerds say trade Hunter Green, it's so that you can collect prospects like Pokemon cards. You got to catch them all. And so that we can be right back here again in 10 years, 5 games out of a playoff spot and punting again so we can get more prospects to do it 10 years after as well. I'm tired of that. We've gone through too many losing seasons to get to a point where this team's in playoff contention, and you have little fans who want to punt and quit. The Reds aren't a good enough franchise to punt and quit on seasons. They're in it. They're in the mix. I think it's stupid to punt on that. I really do. Well, what happens if they miss the playoffs? I'll at least respect that my front office decided to not go all in, but at least said, hey, we're not going to quit. We appreciate the work you guys are putting in, and we're going to go and try to make a move or two to add another depth piece to this bullpen or to this lineup or what have you. I would rather go down swinging, no pun intended. I'd rather go down trying. And giving up Brady Singer? Nah, that's ridiculous. That's insane to me. Now, again, and the Reds can get like something really stupid back. Like they can get like a crazy return back, and then I'll be like, okay, all right, you got a team's top 5 prospect, but who's giving up a top 5 prospect for Brady Singer, who has an ERA that's touching 5? Brady Singer is playing really well, all right, over the last month and a half. But overall, his season ERA is still just a hair under 5. But I mean, his last start was phenomenal. 6.5. He goes just an out away from 7 innings, gives up 3 runs on 6 hits, and the Reds 5-3 win over Seattle. All right, he goes 7 innings, gives up. He goes 7 innings, gives up 2 runs on 4 hits in a very efficient outing. In the Reds 7-2 win against the Rockies. The Reds should have won against the Phillies in that loss when he's 2 outs away from going 8 that night. Gives up 1 run on 4 hits. I mean, he's been solid. He's been solid over his last 3-4 starts. And another solid start tonight with the way the Reds are swinging the bats right now, to me, puts them in position to win their 4th straight series. And that right there, that value right there, especially when, you look at the Reds, rotation at this point, okay, as soon as they wrap up this series tonight and you're done with, a Brady Singer, Rhett Lauder's on the mound on Tuesday, or Rhett Lauder's on the mound tomorrow night. I'm sorry. But then you got Hunter Green on Friday. All right. Then you got Andrew Abbott on Saturday and Chase Burns to close it out against the Pirates on Sunday. You can't take this. This team has some capable pieces in this rotation. You can't take them away. He's not the ace of the staff, but he is the perfect veteran complementary piece for the middle of this rotation. And I think it would be absolutely insane to move him. I really do. Not a fan of it. Nonetheless. All right. What time we got? 4:45. All right. We have time. I do want to get into this. So I thought now I'm going to save this college football one for tomorrow. We'll push that for tomorrow. I want to talk about Baker Mayfield real quick. Ron, since you're so mouthy today, I see your activity in the chat. You're very busy over there, just typing away. Ron Howard has been one of my most loyal listeners, going back all the way to the Kinner and Schlemmer days and all that. I really appreciate Ron. Ron has been, I don't think there's been a show that Ron has not caught. I mean, he listens every day. Anytime we have a live show up north anywhere, he makes an effort to go, to one of our live shows. I appreciate Ron, but Ron, I love you, but I hate your sports opinions. And that's fine, because you probably hate my sports opinions. But I'll never forget Ron, who absolutely hated Baker Mayfield when he was a Cleveland Browns quarterback. And then all of a sudden, Baker Mayfield is Jesus ever since he became the Buccaneers quarterback, and now he could do no wrong. I love that. I love watching people just flip-flop, but Ron, your run with Baker Mayfield might be coming to an end. I find everything fascinating that's going on in Tampa with Baker Mayfield, because I've said this on many occasions. If you had a chance, okay, if you could pick Baker Mayfield to be your quarterback, or if Cooper Rush was your quarterback, and hear me out on this, who's the better quarterback for you to have? I know this sounds really stupid, but I'm going to say Cooper Rush. And the reason I'm going to say Cooper Rush is because when Cooper Rush goes out there, he stinks. And it's an easy decision. Next. That's why I like Cooper Rush, because you know exactly what you get with him, right? He's had a couple big games here or there, but you know exactly what you get with him, right? Baker Mayfield is the scariest quarterback to have in the NFL. Andy Dalton, to me, was the scariest quarterback in the NFL to have, because it is so tough to find good quality QBs in the NFL. But sometimes a good QB can be a costly QB. Sometimes a quarterback that's really good but has a low ceiling can do more harm than a bust of a quarterback elsewhere. Andy Dalton was always fascinating to me because he got ripped and just absolutely decimated by Bengals fans year in and year out. But the bottom line is you could move on from Andy Dalton, but who do you get? It's tough to find an Andy Dalton level quarterback. Now, not Andy Dalton of today, but the Andy Dalton of the early 2010s with your Bengals teams, right? Like, he did just enough to win you games in the regular season. He did just enough to get you to the playoffs, but his ceiling is why you guys couldn't compete when you were there. And it kind of reminds me so much of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, where I loved Baker Mayfield. And like I said, there's always levels to this, right? When you are an 0-16 team, you would kill for an Andy Dalton quarterback. When you're 0-16, you would kill for a Baker Mayfield quarterback. Because, bad teams want to be good. Good teams want to be great. And sometimes the QB you get at a certain level of competitiveness of where your team is at, it's good for the moment, but it may not be good long term. And when the Browns are 0-16 and you go and get Baker Mayfield and you win 7 games that first year with Baker Mayfield, probably would have won more if they wouldn't have waited so many games into the season to go to him, right? So you go from an 0-16 team to winning 7 games with Baker Mayfield, and my goodness, sky's the limit. Look out, world. Here we come. And then you win, but my goodness, there's a ceiling. You look good. You're now good. You're no longer bad. You're now good. But you're realizing that good is not good enough, because good is not going to win you a Super Bowl. Being good is not going to win you in the division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Good is just not good enough. And that's always been Baker Mayfield. Good. He puts up great numbers, and then he'll have a game where you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Have you ever picked up a football before? It's frustrating, but I still like Baker Mayfield. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a Baker Mayfield guy, but I do acknowledge the limitations with Baker as your QB. Okay. And that's why the Browns ended up with Deshaun Watson, because look, Deshaun Watson, that thing is blown up in the Browns' face, but Baker Mayfield was really good. You were winning games. And if you would have signed Baker Mayfield to, at the time, it would have been, 45 mil, which sounds like a deal now, but it would have been 35 or 40. Sorry, 35 or 40, because Patrick Mahomes got that 45 mil winning the Super Bowl that year. And we're like, okay, Baker's not going to get that 45, but he's probably going to get that 40. And at that time, that would be the equivalent to right now. Okay, if you have a good quarterback, but you have to pay him 50, that's really going to handicap your team. Paying Joe Burrow 50, 55, he's going to get, you're going to get every penny's worth of him at 50 mil. If you've got Baker Mayfield today at 40 mil, that's a hell of a deal. You get Baker Mayfield today at 50, not a great deal, right? So you go back to the Browns with Baker Mayfield, where they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. They beat the Steelers, right? They were winning games, and then injuries happened and they missed the playoffs. And then the Browns went and got Deshaun Watson. And everyone does this. Well, I can't believe the Browns, they had a quarterback with Baker Mayfield. Remember what I said earlier. There's levels to this. When you are a bad team, you want a Baker Mayfield, because when you're bad, you want to be good. Bad teams want a Baker Mayfield. Bad teams want an Andy Dalton. Good teams, though, want the Joe Burrows, want the Josh Allens, want the Jaden Daniels, the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomes, the Justin Herberts. Right? Because that's the pickle that a lot of these teams find themselves in. It's hard to find the Baker Mayfields of the world. So when the Browns had a chance to go get a quarterback who Deshaun Watson, when he played a year and a half previously, was a top 5 QB in the league. All right. I'm not morally ignoring what he was involved in, but from a football perspective, yes. If Deshaun Watson would have been the QB that he was in Houston, in Cleveland, of course you move on from Baker Mayfield to go get that guy. Now, it didn't work. Deshaun has been butt cheeks ever since he arrived in Cleveland. It blew up in Cleveland's face. It still, to me, was not the wrong decision, because at that time you were moving on from Baker Mayfield to go get a quarterback in his mid-20s who just was a top 5 quarterback in the league. Yes, you make that move. Yes, you make that move. All right. So I look at the Buccaneers right now. Baker Mayfield had put an ultimatum out saying, if a deal's not done by camp, I'm not going to negotiate a deal, and I'm just going to play out my final season and become a free agent. And guess what? Day one of camp, no deal done. Baker Mayfield, we're not negotiating a deal. This is my last year in Tampa. I'm going to be a free agent after this year. I have no problem with Baker Mayfield sticking to his guns like that. And I also have no problem with Tampa doing to Baker what the Browns did to Baker years ago. We love you, Baker. We're good with you, Baker. We're winning with you, Baker. But we don't feel like we can go and can compete in the NFC. We're not, Baker, we're not beating Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, and Myles Garrett with Baker Mayfield. We're just not doing that. It's an older roster. I do think they're going to hit reset. I think they're going to have to hit reset. And it doesn't make sense to pay Baker. It just doesn't. So it's smart of the Buccaneers to do what they're doing. Have no problem with it. I've been predicting this. I called this out months ago. I said the Buccaneers are not going to get that. If the contract's not done now, why would they be motivated to get it done any closer or in camp, especially with the QB position? Like if you have a capable quarterback that you love, you put the ring on that finger. You don't wait till later and risk something happening. They've already told you, we like it. We're having a good time. You make me laugh, but I can't see us being committed to each other long term. So it makes sense. And Baker Mayfield's going to hit the free agent market next year. And if things this year don't go well with Shedeur Sanders, and Cleveland, though, still wins that 6-7 games, and they're going to be out of the Arch Manning sweepstakes and all this, and you're going to be, win 7 games, you're probably going to be picking 8 or 9. You're not going to get a Dante Moore. You're not going to get an Arch Manning. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get the Browns have the money. I could see the Browns going and getting a Baker Mayfield next offseason. A year from now, we could be talking about Baker Mayfield and the Browns opening up camp. You have, obviously you have Boston as the wide receiver, Concepcion as the wide receiver. You have obviously Jenkins. You have Harold Fanta Jr. You have a revamped offensive line. And even in the post-Myles Garrett era, that defense is still pretty damn good. They just got an extension done with Grant Delpit earlier today. They, did a 2-year extension with Denzel Ward. Love Denzel Ward. That's a lot of money for Denzel Ward, but hey, when you're not paying your quarterback anything right now, more power to you. I know there's still you still have Deshaun money on the books, but that insurance stuff that came from that injury has offset some of it, so that helps a little. But pay attention to that Baker Mayfield storyline going on in Tampa. I do think that we could see Baker reunite in Cleveland after this upcoming season. So we'll see what happens. Can you imagine a QB room? You move on from Deshaun. You bring Baker back in a QB room. I can't think of a QB room with 2 bigger personalities, potentially, in Cleveland than Baker Mayfield and Shedeur Sanders. That would be insane. But who knows what's going to happen as far as that goes. As we wrap this up, Chad Kinser says, should have never signed Suarez. Give them extra dollars to Schwarber. Move Ellie to third. Then have the new kid play short. That's just my opinion. First of all, they should have got Schwarber, no doubt about it. My goodness, it was so stupid to lose him over $5 million a year. But I had no issue with the Suarez signing. The guy, 48 home runs last year. He had 30 home runs at the All-Star break last year. Had single-digit home runs this year at the All-Star break. If he even has 25 home runs at the deadline, the team looks much different. I like the Suarez signing. It was the right signing. You needed a power bat. They got the second best power hitting free agent on the market. I blame Suarez. I don't blame the front office for Suarez. I blame Suarez for Suarez not being good this year, or at least in the first half. We'll see if he can keep it going tonight. Reds Guardians coming up later on tonight. That game will be on ESPN, by the way. They were supposed to be on ESPN Monday night, but they got rained out. So tonight on ESPN, 7:10 the first pitch, Reds and Guardians. Brady Singer on the mound, possibly for the final time as a Red, as the Reds look to win their 4th straight series coming out of the All-Star break. This would be huge. The trade deadline is coming up on Monday. And after this Guardians series wraps up tonight, there's one more series left. And it's another division series. They did something against the Cards that they didn't do in the first half and have success against a division team. Can they keep it going tomorrow? But before they can focus on that, they got to get past the Guards tonight to extend their series winning streak to make it 4. Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow's show, again, Wright State Athletics Director, new Athletics Director. We're going to introduce Brad Chandler on the show. Excited to talk with him about the ever-evolving and changing landscape of college athletics and where Wright State falls into that, especially with the men's basketball program coming off of the NCAA tournament appearance a year ago and showing out against Virginia. Not able to get the job done, but my goodness, did they put on a show. We'll talk about how they continue to build. Brad Chandler tomorrow, Athletics Director for Wright State on the show. And then a guy I'm really looking forward to talking to. I could talk, basketball with him. Mark Adams with ESPN. From here, he has a new book out. And it's one of the most popular books out there right now. So, again, we're going to talk about that book with him tomorrow. He's going to be in studio. So I'm excited for tomorrow's show. And then Mike Golick is going to be with us on Friday ahead of the premiere of the Golicks as Mike Golick makes his return to ESPN Radio and 1410 ESPN Radio starting on Monday. So have a good rest of your night, everybody. We'll do this again tomorrow. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, brought to you by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control.